Welcome to Grawlix Night.
Sorry.
Welcome to
the sax is back.
The sax is back. I knew you'd be excited for that.
Love that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. Hey, it's the Grawlix Podcast live show. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Jasper.
Jasper. Hi.
Hello, sir.
You're the unusual one. You're the unusual. You're the one who's not.
Odd one.
Let me
We have
rephrase.
four now. That's
You're the
even
one-
number.
You're the one that's usually not here. You're new-ish.
Yes.
So, hi. How are you? Welcome
Good,
to the
you?
show.
Good. You good?
Good. I just wanted to make
Yeah.
you feel comfortable with that not at all awkward little bit there.
Yeah.
Last episode was a lot of fun, but at the end, because previously Melanie and I was like, hey, October's coming soon. And that means Halloween. We should start talking about like horror movies and stuff. And then Jesse threw out the great idea at the end of last week to, hey, how about we like pick a movie monster or a horror theme type thing? Each of us can watch something, anything involving that. And then we'll talk about it on that week's show. And this week, it's vampires.
Yep. So I talked about it on the show once before, but I watched Castlevania. Finished it, or what all of it is out.
On
It's
Netflix?
based- Yes, it's based on the game, whatever. And this is not a cartoon for children. It is uber hardcore. There's like the gore in it is very intense. And that's kind of awesome. And they, they're vampires. They can, do vampire things like turn into mist or, bats or whatever. Different ones have different powers. But Dracula's the main vampire or whatever. And what I really like about it though is that like his castle moves, but it's all seems like really sciencey. Like it's not nothing. None of it's magic. You guys are just stupid and you forgot science. But I've been here for thousands of years and I still remember and have all my books and whatever. So you guys are just morons. And you think it's all magical, or whatever. I love that about it.
So it's like super advanced science, that like ancient advanced science.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, maybe I'm sure it's probably a little bit magic. I mean, it's a freaking vampire, but still.
Okay, so what's the story of this like? Is the main character a vampire fighting guy?
Simon Belmont.
It starts off where you meet some chick. She meets Dracula. Then it jumps ahead to many years later. They got married and had a kid. And now Dracula's out of town for some reason. And the townspeople burn his wife at the stake. So he obviously gets a little upset and decides he's going to kill all humans. So there's a war between the vampires and the humans, and his son, who is half human, teams up with a vampire slayer and a nomadic magic lady. I forget what they're called. And then they go after Dracula and the other vampires.
Okay. I don't really have it. I know you don't know a whole lot about the game, so I haven't heard too much about it, but I know it now. Is the art style, is it one of those like anime style shows, or is it kind of got its own thing going on?
No, it's pretty anime. Yeah, it looks really. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of its own, but it's like many other anime I've seen. And you know what? The vampires almost do sparkle, not necessarily in the daylight, but they're the kind of thing where they would have like sunshine, like rippling off their hairs or whatever. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They're making them really pretty. Everybody in there's really, really pretty. Like the men even are very like feminine looking and attract, like, I don't know, kind of attractive in that certain way, in the androgynous way.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's like I feel like it started before the 90s, but kind of the Interview with the Vampire, Anne Rice 90s sexy vampire thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just realized I didn't have the appropriate lighting going.
Ooh, a vampire lighting.
Yeah. So, but it's good. There's like other stuff. They make like demons out of dead bodies. That's really cool. And there's weird church stuff that goes on too. But basically, what?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Nope. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, is it good? Did you like it? Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I liked it. And I guess I would recommend it. There's like politics and court intrigue that go on in there too. That I don't know. I am interested in, but I don't know that everybody would be. But it's like a bunch of vampires together in a thing. They're all kind of like, trying to fight each other for position, kind of a thing. So that adds another element of it, I guess. And then, yeah.
So it's like The Crown.
Kinda. If the person who was the king was like planning to murder everyone in the world, then yeah. Which maybe they are. I mean, I don't know.
We don't know yet. The
internet told me they drink baby blood. So
she has been alive for a long time.
British royalty? Yeah.
Yeah, you've never heard that? You've never heard that conspiracy theory? Are you serious? Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
What would you say are like its key power set, or that I guess maybe Dracula in this case's key power set that makes him tough? What if we were gonna like say, hey, here's our vampire, this is what they can do, this is why they're gonna win, what would it be?
Well, he's basically a genius, and he's super strong, and he can like chop your head off with his fingernails. Stuff like he eviscerates people left and right, just like walking past them. I mean, he's an evil person, especially when he gets angry. I think he might be able to he can throw fireballs and stuff too. I don't know. There's some weird stuff that he can do but basic super strong vampire stuff. And there are other, like I said, there was other vampires. Like there's one that turns into mist and does some weird stuff, and different ones can do different things. I think one of them turns into a wolf. I don't know why. That seems like the opposite of what vampires do. That's a werewolf. But
is it Dracula is a key character? He's like the main character, isn't he?
No.
No? Okay.
They do follow him a lot, but do you want me to spoiler?
You don't have to. I was just curious because I know that was a power that I think Dracula had, was that he could transform into a wolf.
Oh.
Different kinds of creatures of the night.
I mean, we'll get into it. It depends. Okay, so I think on this specifically, at least because I know 2 of the 3 picks involve Dracula. We're going to run into a lot of characters with similar or the same power sets. But there's always little variations. But yeah, I think this week in particular, we might run into a lot of they all kind of do the same stuff.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesse, you or I? Who wants to go?
I can go, since I can tell you that mine does not have Dracula.
Okay.
I feel like I am woefully outclassed in this division because I didn't realize we were going to do battle later. But so I knew you would be. I was thinking about that. I was like, oh.
By the way, Savannah, I'm not ignoring you. I know you're referencing what we do in the shadows. And
she's killing me in the chat.
There's a reason I have not been addressing your comments, Savannah. There's a reason.
Creepy crawlers. Anyways, we went with Interview with the Vampire. It's interesting that you referenced it earlier. I wanted so badly to.
That is not at all what I thought you. I thought you were going to do what we do in the shadows.
Oh, I mean, I could do that one, but
No, do Interview
because that's
with
what
the
I've been
Vampire.
watching. Actually, what I wanted to do was Let Me In or Let the Right One In. Like I was gonna go, I was gonna watch either one of those because that's like probably one of my favorite vampire movies. It's way up there, just because it's so different from anything, and it does really cool things with the myth. But I digress. Interview with the Vampire, based on the books by Anne Rice, and I read all of the Chronicles of I want to say Chronicles of Narnia, the interview, all the Vampire Chronicles. I read all of those until she started making new ones, and I was like, no more.
Yeah, there are so many of them.
I read up to Memnoch the Devil, and then it was like, I think this is kind of done.
Mm-hmm.
They met Jesus, so all right.
Don't get ahead of me, Savannah.
so Interview with the Vampire. I don't know what people do and don't know. That particular story is about Louis the vampire, and he is born a vampire after he's found by Lestat, who was it Lestat de Lioncourt, I believe is his full name. Very, very French. He's a very French vampire, and he's definitely French aristocratic, and he's the mean brat prince archetype character that kind of one of the first kind of bad boy vampires of the 90s. I mean, that's kind of when this movie came out, but the books are actually older than that. I don't know how far to get into the weeds on this. I mean, okay, I'm just gonna jump into the.
You're talking about the movie, though, right?
I'm talking about the movie specifically. Okay. I know a lot more about the books, and I know a lot more about what the vampires can do.
The water's getting real muddy.
In the movie,
what are we talking about?
Yeah.
In the movie, it's their power set is not quite as good as Dracula. In that, it's almost not good at all.
What they don't. So they're very. If I recall correctly, and I'm sorry to step in on your...
Nope, you're good.
They're pretty much just... They're the very standard vampire. The no frills, other than they're like, super sexy vampires. Like they're very, they sleep during the day, drink blood, and that's kind of their thing. Don't age.
They kind of like throw a bunch of the rules out right off the bat when he starts the interview. Like the legitimate interview part of it, which kind of sets up
Christian Slater.
Story. Yeah, Christian Slater.
I just remember Christian Slater exists.
Yeah, no, he's pretty good in it. He may be one of the best parts of it. Spoilers. Anyways, like they're not immune to they're immune to garlic. That's just nonsense. I don't think crucifixes bother them at all. In the Interview with the Vampire lore, the main things are fire, sunlight, and obviously you get a stake through the heart that kills most things. So that's a whole thing. I believe they can also be not necessarily killed, but they can like be completely drained, and then basically like kind of a mummified state, in that they just can't do anything because they have no power. They're too weak to do anything. So that kind of thing. That's how you kill them. And the main powers are like the speed, the strength. I believe Lestat can fly. I don't believe that Louis can. And Lestat even has some like low-key mind reading abilities. Like read your thoughts.
Yeah. You're right. There were some weird little yeah. Okay.
But they don't delve into it too much in the movie because Louis can't do it, and it's all kind of told from his perspective. But Lestat is like, read her thoughts.
Mind reading is a pretty good one, though.
Yeah.
Arguably, like if you were good at it, that could potentially outdo most physical attacks, I would think.
But they can climb up walls too. I've seen it.
Yeah.
In that one specifically, I don't think they did. Yeah, I don't remember them doing that. In the one
Santiago can do it. He just does the creepy crawler thing a little bit at one point.
So, Jesse, Interview with the Vampire from the 90s. Is it good? Does it hold up?
So it's interesting because I was thinking about how Oprah walked out of this thing when it premiered. You remember that? It was like a huge news because it was just so disturbing, in terms of like the blood and gore of this movie in the 90s. And just like, my.
Really?
And now I don't know. There's some racial issues in this movie that it's like, okay, maybe that's actually why she walked out. And I'd be on board with that. But if it's about the gore, I was like, I don't think it's that gory, really.
No.
Yeah, I don't remember it being particularly gory.
But the question was, is it good? Your mileage may vary. There's some people that absolutely hate this movie. I don't think it's total garbage. I enjoy it. I watch it every couple of years. So I like it, I guess. Is it good? I don't think so. Probably not.
Really? Okay. I mean, I might be off my mark, but if I recall correctly, most of the people that I had come across, and it's been a long time since I've talked about any Interview with the Vampire with anybody, most of the people that did not like it were big fans of the book.
Oh,
and they didn't like it for the typical book versus movie thing.
Right. Yeah. All of the movies made off of that series were crap.
Antonio Banderas.
I do know that the Queen of the Damned movie was god awful, and I will take 10 interviews with a vampire over that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, I did enjoy Interview with the Vampire, especially when I was little, and I liked that they had the little kid vampire in it.
Claudia, yeah.
By the way, Savannah, she keeps throwing, for audio listeners, like, why does he keep talking to Savannah? She keeps in the comments throwing out What We Do in the Shadows references. I thought that's what Jesse was doing, so that's why I wasn't addressing your comments. I don't think any of us is doing What We Do in the Shadows, but man, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
They would have gotten slaughtered, I think, against other movie vampires. Not really because of lack of power set, but lack of they're inept.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How they got out of the trial, I don't know.
Right. Okay, so also a while back, Paul had said Dracula, where'd it go? I think it was just Dracula from 1931.
Oh, the Bela Lugosi.
The Bela Lugosi Dracula. And he had actually sent me an audio clip from that movie. He's like, here, if you want to use it, you can. And I had to tell him, like, thanks, but no thanks, because much like Dracula, who never drinks wine, I never use copyrighted material in a podcast. And the reason I say that is because the movie or the show I watched is Dracula, but it is, to quote Savannah, that weird Netflix one. It's a series from this year or last year.
This year.
It's a Netflix BBC joint. Dracula.
Was this the Mark Gatiss one?
Yes. Here's what. And I wanted to mention the Bela Lugosi one, because there's a couple lines that I really appreciated in this, where they have Dracula say things like, I never drink wine. Like, there's some references. There's some straight up references, the Children of the Night, what music they make or whatever, like direct references, where I was like, all right, I'll take it. I'll accept that. But here's why I'm super excited, because I didn't know. I started watching this, and then I discovered the Moth is back. The Moth is back.
Oh, that's right. Moffat is on this, right?
It's been so long since we got to talk about Moffat. Yeah, so this is the 3-episode series. It's one of those. It's like the Sherlock seasons were, where it's like 3 hour-and-a-half long episodes, and that's the season. Except this is just one season. Written by and created by Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss. And I didn't really know anything about it going in, but I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's perfect. Like, some of it's okay. I mean, you'll know what I'm going to say. It's a Moffat thing. It's such a Moffat thing. So predictably, some great ideas. Starts off so strong,
Oh no, it doesn't stick the landing. Oh no.
Not perfectly. No. It's Moffat. He Moffat.
Oh, Moffat.
That's what he does.
Oh,
that's what I felt like too. Like it started like going up and then it
like that first episode. Okay, so there's little bits of cheese throughout that there the writing, it's so funny because most of it is a period piece, but the writing feels kind of modern in the way the people and the line delivery feels kind of modern, and it's funny. Like the dialogue, there's intentional, funny, kind of dry, witty dialogue, and I enjoyed that. But at the same time, like it's still going for horror. And I mean, it's not like scary, but there's definitely some gross stuff. It is a lot more like there's more hard edge things in this than I would have expected, given this actually ran on BBC One or whatever. Some pretty gory things. Savannah said there was a weird vampire movie from the 90s that had one of the aunts from the 90s Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Okay. I'm catching up on comments here. So the dialogue was amusing, but at times too Moffat, too Mark Gatiss. Like it went too cutesy, where it's like, okay.
Just tell me there weren't eye boogers, because Mark Gatiss never gets a pass for that.
No, but there was a legitimately gross thing where a fly landed on a dude's eye, and he just stood there and he's looking around. And then it crawls into his eye socket. I was like, oh, that's pretty gross. But then it was like on the back inside of his eye. And I'm like, how does that work? Okay. That's a good example of like this interesting idea, nice execution, legitimately like gross. Maybe went a step too far. Reel it back. You went just a step into like goofy territory. And the series does that throughout, where it's just like, just a step into goofy, but never so far for the most part that it ruins it for me. After I watched this, I did read some reviews. And oh, hey Jenna. Oh my God. Oh, I wish.
Oh, you just hit his sweet spot there.
Fright Night. She's just joining now. Have we talked about the 80s movie Fright Night? I watch that all the time. Yeah, I love Fright Night. I also watch that all the time. They remade it a few years ago with Tenet of all people, but it's not as good. It's not the same. It's not the same. Fright Night and Near Dark are two of my favorite 80s vampire movies. So good. Nobody talks about Near Dark. Anyhow, I shouldn't get into spoilers. Let me talk about what's kind of interesting about this series, because I think what it does well is, so it's Dracula, kind of. But it's pretty close to the Dracula story.
That is the title, right?
It's pretty close to the Dracula story. It's got the key players, but everything's intentionally changed up a bit. And for the most part, I really like the changes. I think it was interesting, some of the things they did, including like how they handled. So Dracula has a lot of the same like limitations he usually does, but they play with why. Like the crosses is still a thing. It's still like he doesn't like it, but at the same time, like he's not a believer, and he doesn't. It's not like so like it's got nothing to do with God. Like that doesn't, that's got nothing to do with that. And they changed, and this is slight spoilers for the first episode. This is spoilers for the first episode. We're introduced through, is it Jonathan Harker or whatever?
Oh yeah.
We get his whole stay. It's told he's like, after the fact, he's looking real rough, and basically he's in this wherever nunnery and being interviewed by a couple of nuns. And one of the nuns, who's very not nun-like and doesn't even seem to have any faith. The Lost Boys. I don't know, Lost Boys. It's very campy.
It's got Alex Winter in it. Never
I don't
say
know
a sour word about the Lost Boys.
I don't know what
the most famous keeper of all time.
Maybe I need to revisit it. I don't know what happened. Like, if I just didn't watch it enough when I was younger. If I didn't let the Stockholm syndrome take hold or something with Lost Boys, I don't know.
No, I don't know. I mean, does it hold up over time? I don't know. Your mileage may vary with that movie, honestly. But I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. And the music, like the soundtrack, that's one of the first like soundtracks that I think I sought out specifically.
Savannah says can't be as good though. It can be. It can be. Can't be.
There's vampires with mullets, dude.
You're not winning me over. I know what it is. But honestly, I don't ever remember sitting down and watching it from start to finish, ever. I feel like it was something that was always on TV, but I, for whatever reason, never actually sat and watched through the whole thing.
I think anything to do with the older brother is boring. That's why I didn't like it.
The Frog Brothers?
No, wait.
The main characters.
The main characters. I didn't care. I didn't care about him going and becoming a vampire and whatever. I was like, that dude's a D-bag. And I just wanted to hang out with the Corys the whole time because that was fun.
Who didn't? Who didn't want to? I feel like this premise is flawed. We should have just been addressing the comments the whole time. Anyway, so to hurry up and wrap up my point is like one of the nuns, the one that doesn't seem very nun-like, she is a nun, but she lost her faith. Also, her last name happens to be Van Helsing. So they did a gender switch on Van Helsing, and kind of like, I don't know. That's one of the strongest parts, though. She's a pretty interesting character. Moffat has the tendency, and Margaitis, sorry to diminish his role in this, they have a tendency to like write clever things, and then like, I guess it be too self-indulgent. Then be like, oh, look how clever we are. It's like we get that your characters are playing a game of chess, but then you don't then also have to actually set them down and have them playing a game of chess and talking about the game of chess while they're playing an intellectual game. Just stop it. Like, it's not cute.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's on the nose, you
got to make the metaphor visual and literal.
Right. But that said, each of the 3 episodes is pretty interesting. The first one is like basically Harker's in the castle most of the time, his whole stay. And I feel like that's the most effective and interesting. And that introduces a lot of, so the big changes to Dracula are like the vampire lore in general is it is like, I don't know if it's a virus or what, but it is this curse where the people they're the undead, but most vampires in this aren't intelligent. It's like they lose something. And Dracula's rare in that he was able to not only not lose his humanity or his like intelligence, but he figured out how to basically improve himself. And there's this conceit in it that's kind of interesting, to where through drinking the blood, they absorb part of that person's knowledge. And so that's his whole thing. Like he's carefully curated who he drank to remain intelligent or something, some weird thing.
He's a blood snob.
Yes. He's a connoisseur. No, yeah, totally.
Smells like cherries and oak.
So wait.
Neurosurgeon.
Is that why the other vampires are lacking? Because they like drink from animals or something?
I guess the only ones you really see are the ones, his brides, the ones he makes, and then he feeds them like crap, like rats and.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Vampire Baby. Vampire Baby, and it was pretty hardcore. So I was like, I'm kind of on board with the show now. Vampire Baby. If that's
the case, that explains a lot about Interview with the Vampire, because all I need to do, Louis, to find you is follow the trail of rats. Not a Louis, no. Lowbrow. That's like the Bush Light of vampire blood right there. Rats.
Savannah says, I want vampires living in the Star Wars realm. Wars realm.
That'll make some nerds mad. Let's do it.
Count Vader.
Count Vader. Oh man, that would suck.
Jenna mentioned Nosferatu on AMC, which I've noticed on Hulu. She said that it's totally different take on vampire. Is it good? Because I hate that title so much. It's NOS for ATU or whatever. I hate it. It's like, is that his license plate? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but I kind of hate it.
The logo is a license plate that says that. Yeah.
If you're gonna do that though, I told this to Randy too. If you're gonna do that though, you need to make the A 0 and say ought. So it's Nosferatu.
Right. Savannah said Vampire Baby is not okay in What We Do in the Shadows. I forgot that one had Vampire Baby as well. Yeah.
There's lots of Vampire Babies.
The Dracula Vampire Baby is much more like Train Spotting Baby. It's like, what? It doesn't look particularly great, but it's also like, yeah, that's an undead baby and it looks gross. So
no.
They did it. BBC One.
And real quick, an aspect of the vampire thing, which I don't know that they really had many vampire babies, but you know, Dracula had a baby with his human wife, and in the show, he ends up fighting his dad and stuff. He was a full-grown adult, but I think he was like 15, because he aged really quickly, and you don't think about that till after a bunch of hardcore stuff happens, and they're talking to him, and they're like, "So you're like just a real man child. You're a teenager in an adult body." And he's like, "I mean, yeah, basically." And they're like, "Oh, damn." And he's going to war with Dracula. I mean, 15-year-old in a grown-up body going to war with his dad, Dracula. It's an emotional time for him. These are really emotional vampires, by the way. They get sad and they get mad, and they are like they have ridiculous tempers.
I will say that's something that definitely, that crosses over to my Dracula as well, because I'm not going to get into how it ends. And I liked the very, very end. And even if the last episode was questionable because it was just kind of sloppy, although it did have some of the funniest moments, I do like this Dracula, though. The portrayal of him and the way he's written, like, he is like a blood snob, but also like, he's just kicking it. He's also evil. He'll cut off a nun's head with a sword and then sit there and be like, I'm not gonna go to the trouble of attacking all of you nuns, but I'll make these wolves do it.
Matthew McConaughey of vampires. Now I want to be like, well, all right, who brought the blood?
Not that laid back, but now I want to see that.
All right.
I want Matthew McConaughey Dracula.
I want to see Matthew McConaughey Dracula and Jeff Bridges, the dude vampire, in a fight.
It's like
not fighting at all.
They get older, I stay the same age.
Like, that's just like your opinion, man.
I was sitting in my Lincoln drinking blood.
There's a blood beverage here, man.
All right. So, oh man, I don't know. I lost it. I do want to say one thing. So being able to turn into a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
This Netflix Dracula, his version of turning into a wolf, I think I'd pass, because the wolves show up and one of the nuns, this is towards the end of the first episode, is like, I know it's you, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you transform back to your normal form or whatever? And the wolf looks like it's in pain, jumps up on its hind legs, then falls over. And then Dracula has to rip out of the wolf and climb out of the wolf's gut. And
what?
He's naked and covered in goo, and then has this long scene standing there covered in goo and naked. I'm like, no, I'll pass on all that. Like, if that's what you got to do to travel by wolf, I don't need to be given birth by a wolf every time I need to travel somewhere. That's nasty.
That is bizarre.
And the whole time it's like, dude, throw him a towel. Like, I know he's a bad guy, but throw him a towel, man. Let him clean up. That's nasty.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I would just, declare bat and fly.
Yeah.
Right.
And just do that, or turn into mist. Dracula can do that, right? You just I'm the fog now.
Yeah, that was super cool. Oh, you know what? Castlevania might be a little racist too. I'm just saying, the Mist Lady was very Asian and kind of fought in a specific way. And then there was like one that was Scottish and he wore a kilt and was drunk all the time and had,
like super typical characters.
Yeah. So there's that too. And I don't know, they get naked and do stuff too. There's nudity and gore. Be careful when you watch it. I'm just saying.
Castlevania. Okay. All right. Well, let's end the reviews. This is going on too long, and that didn't work perfectly. But hey, Jasper, you've heard all this stuff. You've said like nothing. Which vampires win?
I am very fond of the Netflix Dracula. I like him. I like the suave.
Oh, you've seen him? Have you seen it?
Yeah, that's why I was commenting on a couple things. Yeah, I've watched that. I think the only thing I missed is a little bit of the last one, or I've watched it. I just don't remember. But I love how he was just kind of like cool about everything.
Okay. Well, then hearing about Jesse's vampires and hearing about Melanie's Dracula, do you think he would beat them? Suaveness aside?
He might have trouble with interviewing
Tom Cruise crazy.
Vampire.
Yeah, Tom Cruise crazy vampires. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Not the way I would have guessed. Because that Dracula he is suave. He is evil. His power set is kind of weird, nebulous. Like he never turns into mist, but he does blow a mist cloud out of his mouth that follows a ship for like weeks. What? How does that happen? Okay. So that said, like I feel like I haven't watched Castlevania, but I feel like a more ruthless version of him might take him out.
Mm-hmm.
But
a more ruthless version of Castlevania?
Of Dracula. Just of Dracula. We have 2 Draculas here.
Yes, you're right.
All the Draculas are going to fight.
Right.
This was listen.
Well, I will just say
maybe I didn't think this idea through.
if the vampires were like the vampires from the Anne Rice series and had the powers of some of those vampires, and well, maybe even Lestat, but definitely some people that he knew, they would kill all those vampires with quickness, ease. So, if anything, Anne Rice's book vampires win, I say.
That mind reading.
That's just one of them, but I mean, like we're sticking to that particular movie. So,
Queen of the Damned was a crap movie, but she could blow people up with her mind.
Those vampires had some more powers, bigger powers.
All right, hey chat, what do you guys think? Also, are your vampires better?
My vampires is all better. You know what vampire I really was always kind of interested in, even though I didn't like the movie? You remember that one where it was a chick vampire and she would like eat mobsters or something and then dispose of them. But one time she was eating one of the mob guys. What's that movie called? I don't know. But she was French too, I think. But she was eating one of the mob guys and like got shot at or something. She had to run and he came back,
Is it and is the guy Frank?
I don't know who he is.
I'm
not named
Langella. Is it Skeletor guy? Not that guy.
Skeletor.
It don't matter.
Okay, yeah, none of this matters. Robert Loggia. Was it Robert Loggia? That's who I was thinking.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
You should know Robert Loggia. Everyone should know Robert Loggia.
I don't know names.
Savannah says Jackie Daytona is the best. I don't know what that is.
What?
I feel like this was a success. What monster are we doing next week?
I mean, it was a suck.
Oh, okay. A success.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, we should do let's do it again next week. Another monster. Maybe we'll handle this section different because I feel like this really drug on and was very unfocused. Maybe not. Maybe listeners will say this was great. Chat, hit us up. Movie monster or horror thing.
Oh yeah, what should
next
we do?
Week?
Can I real quick?
Yes, you can.
Address the comment.
Yeah,
Gary Oldman is a great everything. Okay,
that's true.
Gary Oldman was a great Dracula. Yeah,
I really do like Gary Oldman.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
I really loved him in was it The Darkest Hour? I just showed my parents a couple weeks ago.
The Darkest Hour?
Yeah, where he plays Winston Churchill. Very good.
I didn't know that was even a thing.
Yep. It's a really good movie. It was 2017, 2018.
Paul says, I think it's safe to say Dracula won, but it's not really, because I think we decided the Interview with the Vampire people might have beat Dracula's.
Powers, maybe, yeah.
I do know this much. My Dracula and the vampire guy from Fright Night, 1980s Fright Night, they would make out. Pretty cool.
I like the odds on that one.
They would make
odds
out.
On favorite for that.
And panties would hit the ground for 10 block radius around it. They wouldn't even have to know.
Well, so I think maybe I know Interview with the Vampire. I'm suspecting now that, and definitely mine, are all kind of homoerotic also. Is that
definitely
safe to say?
Dude, this Netflix
usually a
one,
little bit, yeah.
So, okay. The Netflix one has an opening scene, then a Netflix Dracula, and then there's a line, and then it hard cuts to title card type situation.
Yeah.
The nun is talking to Jonathan Harker, and the line that it decides to like, and that's when I was like, oh, I'm in it for something special. Not necessarily good, but something special. The line was, did you have sexual intercourse with Dracula? Boom, title card. I'm like, what is this? What is this?
Wow.
First off, it's like 1700. Nobody said sexual intercourse, but okay. No, yeah, the homoerotic theme. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't know why what that is, but it's real in the vampire genre.
Yeah, I know. I wonder, is it just always there? I don't know.
It's just natural when you. Where are the?
What?
Where are the big? I guess there's Queen of the Damned. Well, Dracula is like he overshadows.
He's usually the biggest of the bigs.
I was gonna say, where's the female big bads? But then again, like, where are the other big bads? It's just Dracula and
also Dracula. And, I mean, like we could just go on for days about vampires. Like Dracula in Buffy the Vampire Slayer is so great.
Oh yeah,
remember him? He's just like everyone just loves him.
Jenna said my faves: Nandor and Laszlo for comedy, Lost Boys for scary. Is it scary? Lost Boys?
It's got some scaries. It's got the scaries.
The Salvatore Brothers for companions.
I could have talked about that one. Man, that one goes down a rabbit hole. Or 7.
NBC did a Dracula show that got canceled a few years ago, and she thought it was good. Jonathan Rhys Myers. I'm drawing a blank. Is that his correct name? I'm not sure. She is choosing that for Sexy Vampire. Also, Angel.
Yeah. Speaking of the homoerotic thing, you've always got that like, between him and Spike, and you know that love-hate relationship.
Buffy, and you mentioned the Dracula from Buffy. Like, at least that show knew
the Slayer of the Vampire.
I mean that's kind of that show. It's very self-aware, but that show knew what vampire. Like, I hate Angel. Not the show. I love the show. The character. I always hated the character of Angel because he's just so like, just kind of like moody. But everybody's like, oh, he's so sexy, and it's like, but he's the perfect like just moody vampire. I think Jasper unplugged himself.
No.
No. I still heard you.
He's turning into a vampire.
There we go.
There he is. Slightly more vampire-like.
I have to go deep into the settings of this camera because it has an auto shut off feature that I thought I shut off.
Oh. Let's not get started on Buffy. We'll totally lose Melanie and Jasper.
Do a whole thing.
Okay, the only thing I really seen, Savannah threw out Frankenstein's Monster for suggestion for next week.
Ooh.
That's a little obvious. Maybe
but it's tricky because like there's not as much of it, you know.
You're right.
Like, there's a lot of it, but you have to go searching, and I like that idea.
Looks like I'm watching Young Frankenstein again.
Mm.
No, I love Young Frankenstein. No, not necessarily. I do want to try to like. That's part of the reason I like this. Like that Dracula show on Netflix. I don't think I was ever going to watch that. I come across it. I'm just like, the cover looked cheesy, and I'm like, well, it's just Dracula. I'm like, oh, what is that? I don't need that. But I'm glad I watched it. So I like this idea because, and you guys do whatever you want, but I'm going to try to search out things that I've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That sounds wonderful.
It sounds like next week is Frankenstein week. Feed my Frankenstein.
Igor. Feed my Frankenstein. I'm just going to listen to an Alice Cooper song and talk about it.
Just listen to the Alice Cooper over and over.
Yep. That one song.